Now that's a facelift truly deserving its long-established name. This is the new Nissan Qashqai. It's not just about getting a new face, but other important changes as well. We will take a closer look together in this exciting video today. I hope you will join Autonotizen for the first drive in the all-new and innovative Nissan Qashqai e-Power. Pretty strange and odd guy, and what's with that name anyway? That's what several people might have thought and wondered back in 2007 when they first encountered him. That's when the first Nissan Qashqai hit the market as a compact crossover model, which didn't really fit into any category. So what is it now? A four-wheel drive or SUV existed back then too, or rather a compact one. Was he a bit between the chairs? By now, this crossover class has naturally been fully worked through the market segments. And the name, as odd as it may have seemed at first, is already now widely accepted and generally recognized by everyone. Firmly established. And to ensure the success continues, Nissan wants to provide a comprehensive facelift for the Qashqai, giving it a new front with upgraded headlights, a more prominent grille, and refined aerodynamic features. The designers did a solid job because the bumper is new, the headlights are new, giving it a new face, enhancing the style and appeal, making it look more modern and attractive on the road. In the past, while the Qashqai had the front grille was uniquely framed by distinctive silver strips. Is there now a front design where the grille with honeycomb structure, those like miniature hooks, seamlessly blends into the sides in silver here, creating a smooth, attractive merge? Underneath, of course, is the identical grille opening. It's just the exterior decor that's been changed here. Additionally, there is a horizontal bar connecting the headlights with the central Nissan logo, enhancing the car's sleek, unified front design. The lower part of the bumper is also newly designed. The width of the vehicle is, for example, emphasized by the fact that we now have a cross brace painted in the color of the car. Depending on the equipment, there are adaptive LED headlights with an adaptive LED high beam function. And then we can clearly see here in the light elements also 5 hooks, which then beautifully and meticulously reflect the intricate design of the chrome elements in the radiator grille. Of course, the format itself hasn't changed with a facelift. Clearly, 4.43 meters long is the Nissan Qashqai. It's standing here on 20-inch alloy wheels, which are standard in the highest trim level Techno Plus and the new N-Design model. This beautifully demonstrates a few significant updates as well. We have body-colored trim on the wheel arches, glossy black inlays on the side skirts, and together with the large dark wheels and the sleek black mirror caps, the N-Design is intentionally designed to more effectively accentuate the car's sporty side and overall dynamic appearance. This new exhibition line covers all models. There's also an N-Design for the fabric. Here we see the roof in a striking black color. On the door, it says e-Power, which is Nissan's term for a series hybrid drive technology known for its efficiency and performance. What this essentially means, I'll explain in just a moment. But of course, we want to take some time to thoroughly discuss what's happening under the hood and explore in detail what kinds of drives Nissan offers for the Qashqai in various markets. He shares a platform with alliance partners like the Renault Austral, but employs a different powertrain strategy for the hybrid drive to improve fuel efficiency, reduce emissions, and enhance the overall driving experience. We have the e-Power as the performance top model in the lineup with 140 kW or 190 horsepower. This is the performance of the electric motor. Then there's also a combustion engine on board, which works as a power generator. Additionally, there are still 2 mild hybrid petrol engines with 1.3 liters capacity. One option is the base version with 103 kW or 140 PS and a 6-speed manual gearbox. And then there's also a 158 horsepower variant. This 1.3-liter mild hybrid, and it's also available with the so-called Xtronic, a continuously variable transmission, or as the only Qashqai with all-wheel drive. The engines are at the front, new taillights at the back. Depending on the trim level, you can get taillights in a new clear glass design, which then emphasize the technology in the light with a 3D effect at the bottom and include these red elements. Additionally, a modified bumper and on the InDesign, high-gloss black inserts. Naturally, it is not very practical in everyday life, but it adds a unique touch. InDesign is intended to be a designer piece, as its name already clearly suggests. And it fits absolutely perfectly with it. If you genuinely want, you can easily modify the Qashqai design by adding a tow hitch if you happen to need one. Those who are left behind often won't opt to go for using e-power. The towing capacity ranges from 750 kilo to 1,800 kilos for the mild hybrids, depending on the drive configuration. An interesting factor, however, is the nose weight. This is important if I want to transport e-bikes, for example, and they do weigh quite a bit. With 100 kilo of hitch load, the Qashqai can handle a lot on the coupling, perfect for transporting larger loads efficiently. The bike clothing or other necessary travel luggage will be placed securely in the trunk. The tailgate opens electrically and we can see the 455-litre compartment above the double load floor, giving us extra storage space. It begins right behind the loading edge here. Therefore, you really will absolutely not need to lift things over a particularly sizable step. 479 litres is the other value Nissan states, and that's for the inclusion of the basement compartment. I can partially use that. I find it really clever by setting up a part of the double floor here with these cutouts. Whenever I transport groceries or something like that, absolutely nothing falls over and nothing ever breaks. You can then also take out the back part, which gives us a larger cargo space. Here, hybrid technology is in the car, providing better fuel efficiency, reduced emissions, and good performance levels. There's also a considerable amount of hidden battery space under the loading floor. The side walls are also lined with felt, meaning they won't get scratched easily when I lift and securely place suitcases or beverage crates all around, ensuring everything stays in good shape. Additionally, there's a hook on each side for hanging jackets or bags, for example. And we see a 12-volt outlet in the trunk, which is great for powering various devices efficiently. Of course, I can remove the parcel shelf, and if I need extra loading space, I can fold down the backrest of the rear seat in two parts, creating a flat loading area suitable for transporting larger or bulkier items, making it incredibly convenient for all sorts of purposes. And that's quite rare nowadays. And because it's just so nice, I'll go ahead and open the other side, the other door, and then I will fold the seat completely down to make more room. And that already demonstrates that the Nissan Qashqai is actually a very practical and versatile car. I can now load larger, heavier and bulkier items or heavy furniture comfortably here too, without me having to worry that they'll break apart on the journey. I don't think I'll break either if we load me safely into the car for the trip, to be fair, and that's exactly what we're doing now. Let's start with the rear seat test, check what's new in the cockpit, and then we'll go for a test drive. The space available is really quite good. We have plenty of ample room in the entire second row. You also sit comfortably here in the front on the driver and passenger seats. The driver's seat in the test car is electric and has a memory function. The passenger seat is manual. The car doesn't match what you can configure and order in Germany, because it would have a package with the head-up display, which we also have here, and an electric tailgate, where the passenger seat is electrically adjustable. And for that, there's also then a memory function. The interior features Alcantara, which is new for InDesign and Technoplus, including on the dashboard, for example. Here we can clearly observe a slightly different and more intricate design of the trim in front of the passenger. Here is a strip in the middle, like a contrasting white strip, and honestly it looks pretty good. Then here with the grey Alcantara microfiber material and this decorative trim underneath. Nissan hasn't messed with the controls, thank goodness, so you can still tweak things yourself, like the rotary knobs. For the temperature of the two-zone climate control, so it stays with buttons and keys, also the audio volume control, for example, and these direct selection buttons to skip music tracks and radio stations. Also, I have the ability to control both a day and night mode for brightness settings right here too. Here I can approach the camera and soon something new and exciting awaits us. We have a rear view camera with 3D optics, and in the future it will also offer the possibility that you can then, with a kind of transparent hood, you can undoubtedly see much better where you are currently driving through. And thus we see it here now. I can also use the wheel turn if I want to maneuver tightly. We're not talking about any off-roading adventures now, but rather about navigating the urban jungle. Then check where my car is currently located. That's a new feature. And while we're talking about new features, let's stay with the big display, the 12.3-inch display here on the center console. Google pulls you into the car, and we then have the ability to control navigation via Google Maps, Assistant activated here as voice control with Hey Google to manage it, offering you advanced features and ensuring you reach your destination easily and comfortably, as we see it now. And I can also control vehicle functions. Additionally, the Play Store is on board, so I can download apps like YouTube or even Spotify alongside other music streaming services, offering a great selection. But it only works, and here's the tiny footnote: if you have a Google account set up and signed in, you have to set that up and then sign in here in the car. In our test car, a smartphone is now connected with a Google account. And that will then of course be mirrored here accordingly. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are also on board. And from the user interface of the display to the new graphics, this is familiar. Of course, we still have the Nissan Connect services equipped on board. And if you want, you can actually make use of Amazon's Alexa program for voice control instead of Google's Assistant program. Here we see again what is possible in terms of app control, and then I go back to the main menu with the house icon where additional options are available. It's great that the multifunction steering wheel remained unchanged. That means we quite intentionally have large, precise buttons for managing audio volume for the sound system and also for the control of the digital display here, located just behind the steering wheel. I can then call up the navigation, onboard computer data, and the energy flow, for instance. But also information about driving assistance. And here we see I can then turn various things on and off as required or desired, depending on the situation and personal preferences. The speed alert, that's new. The Qashqai has to of course comply with the latest EU regulations. But surely I can just turn that off in the submenu, just need to fumble through the menus a bit longer so it's not always such a mess. That's what happens here too. When a speed limit increases to the new limit, so there's already a lot of music in it, so to speak, with the speed limit warning. I mentioned the head-up display. It's available as an optional package component. So you can go ahead and order yourself a Bother sound system. You'll see the Bother emblem on the tweeters as well as in the A-pillars. In the center console, here, you have the inductive smartphone charging pad in the front, then the familiar little lever to control the driving mode with the D and B functions for increased energy recuperation. Additionally, the Qashqai e-Power also has the capability that you set up the e-pedal feature here, and with that you can fully recuperate a whole lot, so you can truly drive comfortably in the seamless one-pedal mode, like with an electric car. And that also helps to keep the consumption close to the WLTP standard value. Then you get 5.2 to 5.3 liters, that's it. But that isn't too far off from the mild hybrids, which consume about 1 liter more per 100 kilometers with a manual transmission. If you don't just want to recuperate, but want to park, then you can also directly activate the parking assistance here. Then the cameras turn on. You can easily save the parking spot, and utilizing the GPS function, the exact corresponding spot will be accurately found again when you eventually arrive at your destination. That's obviously helpful when, for example, you drive to the office every day or back home, and then the assistant parks fully automatically. We don't want to park now pulling out. Begin test drive. The sequential hybrid drive ensures the electric motor always drives the front wheels of the vehicle. The combustion engine does come in sometimes, like now. We're driving uphill here and I'm also accelerating harder. But it never drives the wheels, and that's a series hybrid drive, meaning the combustion engine is the energy supplier for the battery, which in turn powers the electric motor. It delivers 140 kilowatts or 190 horsepower and provides a maximum torque of 330 Newton meters. That sounds extremely lively, clearly powerful, as you can now see with the acceleration and performance. A sports car, well, the Qashqai power is not really meant to go. Could also be an efficient alternative. The petrol engine, by the way, is quite interesting. It's a 1.5-litre three-cylinder that can dynamically change its displacement by up to 20 cubic centimeters as the compression is altered depending on the load upon, which enhances overall performance. That means how much power is needed, what does the combustion engine have to deliver. Overall, you can say it runs with a relatively low turbocharger pressure, which ensures efficiency. That is also supposed to help save energy. In a previous everyday test, the Qashqai e-Power managed to run on 6.4 litres, which is at least 1.1 litres less than the automatic alternative, namely the 158 horsepower mild hybrid with Xtronic with the continuously variable transmission. And that's a fairly average value, but it also clearly illustrates that the e-Power drive in the Qashqai is not truly considered a marvel of remarkable fuel efficiency. But yet again, of course, the ultimate control over the vehicle's fuel consumption lies directly in the driver's very own right foot. We are now at a familiar place. I can now, for example, when gradually rolling up to a turn, but also when calmly driving downhill, move the small stone on the center console to the B position, and then we can all see the corresponding display illuminated here. Cockpit. This is a significant step towards even higher levels of energy recuperation. I want to talk about the combustion engine again. You can hear it nicely muffled in the background. Sometimes you hear him grumble a bit. It almost faintly resembles a diesel sound, but extremely quiet. So you really have to listen closely and know that he works there. And Nissan achieves this firstly with a lot of insulation material, but also with microphones inside the cabin, which generate counter pressure, reducing engine noise and other sounds, like for example rolling noises, then minimize it. That works too. The car offers a pleasant noise comfort, and it matches the easygoing nature of the Qashqai, especially the Qashqai e-Power. The end design model we're driving has 20-inch wheels, like the Techno variant, offering a unique drive. That means the unsprung mass increases, the tire cross-section is smaller compared to smaller rims. You can actually notice it slightly more on less well-built roads, that sometimes transverse joints or bumps are passed through to the inside by short, sharp jolts or sudden vibrations or tremors. So if you want to experience the Qashqai as a maximally comfortable car, you should then drive at least one wheel size smaller, either by choosing the trim level or, for example, by selecting new tires and wheels for the winter, which can provide better traction and handling. We won't put those on today. We're in Portugal with 27 degrees outside, and in this beautiful weather, basking in the sun, we're eagerly heading towards the final conclusion of our adventure. Interesting detail, by the way, is that the Nissan Qashqai in N design, like we have here, and in Techno Plus, has a multi-link rear axle. Comparing how it rides in terms of comfort to the torsion beam axle of the other trim line, I really can't judge that today. The reason for this varied tuning likely lies in the wheel size, as the N design and Techno Plus models have 20-inch wheels, which significantly influence driving performance and overall experience. We should now come to the final conclusion about the Qashqai facelift. The car has truly found its own balance. He doesn't wish to be an athlete. He provides adequate yet not excessive space, enjoyable engines and superior handling, and he continues to do so. At the same time, the designers have managed to create a significantly more modern appearance with this completely new front. And this sleek new front fits seamlessly into the modern Qashqai's overall design language. The designers at Nissan did a fantastic job there. The Google software package brings significantly more modern connectivity and impressive technology integration into the car. But I need to sign in with a Google account, then I get real-time traffic data with Google Maps and voice control through the Google Assistant, enabling seamless navigation and hands-free driving management. Prices start at €34,140. At first glance, you might think, oh, it's gotten quite a bit more expensive. The Qashqai with the facelift That's not true, because after the Juke, Nissan is also cutting the base trim level for the Qashqai. You know, let's start with Accenta, and so far it costs 34,140 euros. New is the combination of this base now, that is Accenta with the e-Power hybrid drive. It's available for just under 40,000 euros. As a final design, it's significantly more expensive. Of course, with Alcantara and many design elements, plus more comfort extras, we have a much more extensive equipment. That starts at 46,120 euros with the serial hybrid drive. Our test car has the Boso sound system on board and also an equipment package, including a head-up display and an electric tailgate. That will then cost a bit over 48,000 euros. That was the first driving report on the Nissan Qashqai with a facelift. If you now want to know how the e-Power system performs in everyday life, then you can definitely check out the detailed video review of the Nissan Qashqai e-Power. Earlier with the pre-facelift version, nothing changed there. And if you say, I'd like to drive a serial hybrid, but still want all-wheel drive, Nissan has something for you too, namely the larger X-Trail as e-Power. E-Force, that's what it's called. And guess what, of course, there's also a detailed car notes review available on it for enthusiasts. We have an extensive driving report, an in-depth all-wheel drive test in off-road terrain, and a comprehensive long-term test session. Find this exciting content in the Nissan playlist right here on the channel. For more about the car, for those preferring photos, visit Autonotizen.de. Many thanks to Matthias from the films. Thanks to you for watching and subscribing to this channel if you haven't. Catch you soon on Autonotes. See you.